Now, back to more of Behind the Scenes at the Hanover Theater. And your host, Lisa Condon.
Boy, if you're not in the holiday spirit now, just wait until after this program. You won't be able to help yourself. And I'm very much looking forward to speaking today with Brian O'Donovan. He is the host of our annual A Christmas Celtic Sojourn, and this year it is generously sponsored by Fletcher Tilton. Welcome, Brian.
Great to be with you, Lisa. Great to be with you, as you said, in what it seems now like the midst of the holiday season rather than the beginning of it.
I just can't even believe how fast December is flying by. And I just can't even believe your show is almost here. Of course, you're coming December 17th. That's a Tuesday night at 7:30. And this isn't obviously your first time to the theater. People love your show so much. They come back year after year. We were talking a little bit about, at the break before this, about how much A Christmas Celtic Sojourn has really grown. Can you tell us a little bit about how it all got started?
Well, it has grown. We will do 12 cities, or rather 12 shows in 4 different cities this year. And it started off just as a notion of mine to come out of the radio program that I broadcast on WGBH, public radio here in Boston. And that was a Christmas program. We actually made national editions of the program, just exploring Christmas music. A lot of the Christmas music that we know comes from the Celtic countries and England, and it was just a nice program that I thought would go well with a live show. Well, when we started it in 2003 at the Somerville Theatre in Davis Square in Somerville, Mass., it sold out rapidly, and then the following year we added 3 shows and they sold out rapidly, and I knew something was there. There was a kind of a yearning for this old-fashioned holiday Christmas. We then moved to the Cutler Majestic Theatre, and very shortly afterwards we came to Troy Siebels, manager of the then very newly restored Hanover Theatre in Worcester. And boy, were we surprised in such a pleasant way to see the reaction of the Worcester and Central Massachusetts audience. And that really marked our big foray into growing it into other markets. And as the rest, as I say, is history, but Worcester is a big part of that history.
Oh, that's so good to hear. And what's going to be nice this year, too, is that you're on the set of A Christmas Carol. So how are you planning on working that into your regular performances?
You know, that's one of the funnest things that happened last year, actually. We were, just because of the dates, we were in the midst of Christmas Carol, and previously we had gone through all sorts of painstaking efforts to cover up the set of A Christmas Carol because we thought it wasn't our set and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. We had our own production values on stage. But last year, because of the dates, we said, oh, let's use it.
Right.
And the Christmas Carol set in Worcester is just stunningly beautiful. I know it was designed very, very carefully, and must have cost a significant amount of money to invest in such a beautiful set. So we said, why not use this beautiful set? And Troy and the other good folks that work in the theatre said, go ahead. And we did it, and it just absolutely blended beautifully with our show. We use it a little differently than A Christmas Carol does, of course, but it's this village scene. We use lights in the windows. We use the star effects, and it just really enhances the atmosphere of the theatre for our Christmas Celtic Sojourn. But again, to your listeners out there, that set, whether you see it for A Christmas Celtic Sojourn or, and I would say it should be, and see A Christmas Carol on it, it's worth it just to see the set to begin with.
You sent us some great music that we're going to play snippets for our listening audience later, but do you want to take us through some of that music, maybe in the context of what people can expect if they've never been before, or what can they expect that might be different if they have?
Absolutely. The music that I've prepared for you guys is from past editions of the program. We record everything that we produce, and we often play it on NPR and Public Radio International nationally. But we're constantly looking for new material, and we often strike a Christmas tone, obviously in fairly direct form. For example, in this piece, where my own daughter, who is now 20 years old, sings a beautifully arranged version of In the Bleak Midwinter, which is a gorgeous song, and of course one of many people's favorite Christmas songs, one of my own. And we also go into different music that may not be so Christmassy, but actually wintry. For example, Ruth Moody, who plays with a group with my favorite name called the Wayland Jennies, regular star on Prairie Home Companion, she brought a Gordon Lightfoot song called A Winter's Night with You. So we balance it out between very Christmas music, direct music, but also music that's appropriate for the season. And sometimes at times we go into music that is just traditional Irish reels and jigs, which are indicative of the kind of hoolie that can break out when people gather at Christmas time with friends and family to celebrate basically being together, and that's what we are all about. So from the traditional to the contemporary to the unexpected, we have our female singer every year, for example, brings their own version of "Oh Holy Night." Again, another Christmas chestnut. But it's amazed me, Lisa, over the years how many different approaches you can have to that beautiful song.
Absolutely, and that is one of my all-time favorites. I remember singing it in church when I was, between the ages of 8 and 12 when I was no longer welcome in church choir, got kicked out. That's a whole nother story. But we'll keep going.
Maybe you'll tell that as a Christmas story on stage for us. That would be entertaining.
Oh, I'm sure.
But we often focus on music that is very much Christmas music on the other side of the Atlantic, but has not really kind of reached mass audiences here. One of those ones that we have is called the Christ Child Lullaby, which comes from Scotland, and we recorded a number of years ago with a very famous Scottish singer who was with us, called Dougie MacLean, and that's a beautiful version as well that we have for you.
I love all of the music from around the world. One of my favorite things about this time of year and this season and the music that you typically hear is you can go from completely joyous to serene, tranquil, and, like you said, hauntingly beautiful.
Absolutely, and we cover all of that. I mean, we're very careful to put together a show that, Christmas is a very emotional time of the year, for a whole variety of reasons. People sit and remember, they reflect on happy times, they reflect on people who are no longer with us, family and friends. It's definitely a reflective time of the year, but it's also a joyous time of the year that balances out. And that's what we like to think we do. We are not a show per se on the stage playing for the audience. We rather invite the audience to gather with us and celebrate what ancient Celts celebrated, the darkest time of the year. And the way they celebrated is by lighting fires and candles and making it a festival of light. And that's what we hope to do. Very, very simple principle and mission is to bring light into the theaters that we're in and bring the light of the people onto the stage with us so everybody's celebrating together.
Absolutely love it. So, Brian, you must be fortunate enough to travel quite a bit.
I am, actually. That's one of the benefits of my job. There's frustrations in my job, believe me. So one of the benefits is I do get to travel around.
Right. So you are such a busy person between your own radio program and then producing these shows and expanding it into the tours. And, of course, you also have not just a Christmas Celtic Sojourn, but a St. Patrick's Celtic Sojourn, which we announced a little while ago. We're going to be lucky enough to have that in a few months. After we're done.
Looking forward to that. Yeah,
I know. That'll be really great. But when do you find time to travel and discover all of these new forms of music and instruments? And tell us your secret.
Well, there's no secret to it. I suppose, like it's just using every hour of the 24-hour period. My wife and I talk about like we just have to take a night off, which means Monday and Tuesday might be a night off in a month that otherwise every other day is busy doing something. It's just it kind of feeds my passion. My passion is for music and arts generally, and reflecting on that passion, then I am in the lucky position to simply be a messenger.
I know,
and that's the role that I fulfill, is just to bring things in and say to people, look, you may not have heard of this, but this is something that you will want to see and experience. I really think that what the Hanover Theatre does as a performing arts centre is pretty much the same thing. You bring in very adventurous programming there, and you send people notices to say, look, even if you haven't heard this, we are a performing arts centre. We're giving it our stamp of approval. Come and see it. You'll not be disappointed.
Absolutely. And I have to tell you, I feel pretty lucky, like I've got a pretty great job, too, because like you said, we're the messengers of wonderful things. That's
exactly right. And there's nothing more important at any time, in good times and in bad. There is nothing more important than the arts. To me, it's an indication of the quality of life and the principles that we have as a community. And long may it be so.
Me too. I feel the same way, Brian. And I can't help but comment on, I heard you talking about how your daughter was the very talented vocalist who was performing that beautiful song you were talking about. And then you mentioned your wife working with you all but, say, 2 nights a month. So this has really become a family's passion, it sounds like.
It definitely has, and again, it reflects our principles. I've got 4 children, 4 grown children now, essentially, and some of them have been involved in the show in the past. But largely, it's just that we're very much involved in arts and music, and that's what kind of defines us. And that's the atmosphere that we bring on stage. Is the atmosphere of a family, of a genuine family, and just inviting people to be a part of that. Not so personally, but yes, personally as well. But in the metaphoric way, is that we as a family, and I mean the people on stage and in the audience again, are just celebrating and discovering and reveling in what's going on at this time of the year as we gather to keep the cold away and the dark out.
I love it. So if anybody wants more information on this fabulous show, come check out our website at thehanovertheater.org. And Brian, I'm sure that you'd like to send them to another website so that they can get more details as well.
They can. Hanover is where you can get tickets and more information nuts and bolts of what's happening in Worcester on that's coming right up on the 17th, in actual fact, of December.
Yes.
Tuesday night. We're looking forward to being there. But generally, we have as well created a whole segment of our website, and I'm going to give that a web address in a moment. But we have created, for example, a Christmas Celtic music stream, 24 hours, where people can just click, can listen to music like a continuous radio stream of Celtic music that people have written to me that they're using for their cooking or for their decorating or for their present wrapping. It's just a great backdrop. We've also got 14 songs and tunes that we've recorded in past editions of the program that are available for download, free download for MP3, and a whole range of other things like videos from past shows as well that people can check out. And that website is wgbh.org/Celtic.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Scenes at the Hanover Theater with your host, Lisa Condit. Make sure to join us again next Sunday morning here on AM 830 WCRN.